What's up, everybody? And welcome back to the Last Bachelor podcast, where I address real topics about the things that matter, but don't always get talked about enough. I'm your host, Elvin Matos, and today we're diving into one of the most crucial skills in any relationship, healthy communication. Whether it's with your partner, your kids, your friends, or even at work, how we communicate can make or break the connections we have. I know firsthand how communication, or the lack of it, can shape relationships. Growing up, I didn't always see the best examples of open and honest dialogue. And like many men, I had to unlearn some bad habits. But once I did, I saw the difference, not just in how others responded to me, but how I felt about myself. So today, I want to break down what healthy communication actually looks like, the common mistakes we make, and how we can do better. Let's be real. Most of us were never formally taught how to communicate in a way that strengthens our relationships. Society tells men to be strong, suck it up, or figure it out alone. But that mindset doesn't build lasting, meaningful connections. Instead, it leads to misunderstandings, resentment, and even broken relationships. Dr. John Gottman, a renowned relationship expert, says that the way couples communicate is the biggest predictor of whether they will stay together or separate. And the same applies to friendships, family, and even professional relationships. Good communication isn't just about talking. It's about listening, understanding, and responding with intent. And if we don't develop this skill, we end up in the same cycles of frustration, shutting down, or lashing out. Now, let's talk about some of the biggest mistakes we make when it comes to communication. And I'll be the first to admit, I've made plenty of these myself. Number one, not listening to understand. We often listen just to respond, not to truly understand. Instead, practice active listening. Repeat back what you heard to confirm understanding. 2. Shutting down or stonewalling. This is when we emotionally withdraw from a conversation, often to avoid conflict. It makes the other person feel unheard and disrespected. Number 3. Defensiveness. If someone brings up an issue, do you immediately get defensive instead of listening? A healthier response is to take a breath, acknowledge their feelings, and ask clarifying questions. Number 4, blame and criticism. Saying things like, "You never listen to me," instead of, "I feel unheard when you interrupt," can make a big difference. Focus on using I statements instead of you statements to avoid triggering defensiveness. So what can we do to improve how we communicate? Here are some expert-backed strategies that actually work. Number 1, use I statements. Instead of, "You never help around the house," say, "I feel overwhelmed when I have to do everything alone." This makes it easier for the other person to hear you without feeling attacked. Number 2, validate feelings before problem solving. Before jumping to solutions, acknowledge the other person's emotions. For example, "I see why you're upset. That makes sense." 3, timing matters. Bringing up serious topics when emotions are high can lead to arguments. Instead, schedule conversations when both people are calm. Number 4, practice nonverbal communication. Your tone, facial expressions, and body language say a lot. Crossed arms, eye rolling, or looking at your phone while talking can be just as damaging as words. 5, learn to apologize and take responsibility. Owning your mistakes builds trust. A real apology sounds like, "I realize I hurt you when I said that. I didn't mean to, and I'll do better." At the end of the day, communication is a skill, one that we all can get better at with practice. If you just take one thing from this episode, let it be this. Healthy communication isn't about winning an argument. It's about understanding and being understood. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences with communication in relationships. What's worked for you? What challenges you faced? You can DM me on social media or leave a comment if you're listening on Spotify. You've been listening to The Last Bachelor. Take care. Until the next episode.